This was a very quiet year in my life. Not quiet in a literal way, more like life finally had some room to breathe.
And yeah, I kind of planned this when I made a video earlier in the year called I've been thinking of quitting, but I didn't realize how much quieter this was going to make my life.
So naturally, if you take something out of your life, something else will inevitably fill that gap.
I already talked about this in my last video about what excites you, but for me, I filled that gap with work, routines, projects, just really anything else I could think of filling that time with. You know, all the usual little things that fill a year without you even realizing it. And because I was living life without the thought of, maybe I should make a video out of this or I should film this, well, it just made the whole year so much quieter. Almost like everything went on mute for a bit. Also, a side note is that the year prior to this was way more crazy with, buying a house and everything. So it's a really sharp contrast with this year versus last year. And just thought that was worth pointing out as to why this year felt so much quieter than the last one.
But quiet doesn't mean empty. And that's what I didn't understand until now. What I didn't understand until I took a step back and reviewed my year.
So yeah, I wasn't trying to film everything and turn everything into a video idea or something, but I was still living my life. And somewhere in that space, this whole year of just not worrying about YouTube or video ideas at all, something clicked, or rather, a few lessons clicked. So lesson one is creativity happens when no one's watching. When you're not thinking about making your next video or trying to turn everything into an idea, you actually notice a lot more of what you're missing. And for me, I think this was realizing that I just missed making things. When you're constantly thinking about YouTube videos and making them, you don't realize how much you actually like them. But when you just stop making them for a while, you realize how much you miss them. Now, I don't miss the pressure or the views or all of that stuff. I just miss, setting up a camera, or writing a script, or editing a video, simple things like that. Not even the after part of pressing upload and having you guys watch the video, just the creating. And it's a lot easier to make things when no one's watching. So lesson two here was starting again feels a lot more different than just starting for the first time. I posted a video in November last month and it felt really strange to just pick up a camera, script, and record and everything after not having made a video for like 11 months. It's almost like picking up an instrument that you haven't touched in a long time. It could feel really awkward and full of mistakes, but it's exciting. So I want this to just be a reminder that you can return to things if you haven't touched them for a long time. It might feel a bit strange at first, like I know this was, but that will pass really quick, and honestly, you're gonna enjoy it probably like when you first started picking the thing up. The feeling of joy usually returns, not all the time, but at least for making videos, I felt that. And finally, the last lesson was you don't need noise to grow. So I know this sounds kind of weird, but let me explain. This wasn't a milestone year. I set a lot of sub and upload goals that I didn't even get close to hitting. When I set those goals, I was in a very different place, but obviously, your plans don't always pan out the way you wanted them to. But I'm not going to count that as a failure because I still grew quietly, but I grew in ways that I didn't realize I did until things quieted down and I had some time to just look back and reflect. It was only without the noise that I was able to actually see what was growing.
And that's just the thing about quiet years. They can grow you in ways loud ones can't, but you just can't hear any of it when the volume of life is turned all the way up. So I'm not ending the year with a big plan or some big comeback promise because I already did the returning part when I made my last video. What I care about now is the feeling I want next year to have. More intention, more creativity without pressure, more small moments I actually show up for, whether they become videos or not.
So if this was a quiet year, then I think next year can be more of a steady one. Not loud, not overwhelming, not packed to the brim with filling it with whatever I can, just steady.
And if you had a quiet year too, that doesn't mean you failed or wasted anything. Quiet years count too, and sometimes they're exactly what you needed.